In 2024, high school senior Addie Hunter was at home doing breathing exercises. She was then rushed to a hospital after her lungs collapsed. She spent 3 days there on a ventilator. She couldn't breathe, she couldn't move, she couldn't feel. The doctors realized she had half the oxygen levels that a regular human should have in her body. She also had to have black tar-like material removed from her lungs. Again, after 3 days in the hospital, the doctors recommended to her parents that they say their final goodbyes. Vapes and e-cigarettes are widely accepted among the youth. People are of the opinion that they are less dangerous than regular smoking, or that they are of no danger at all. Unfortunately, Tennessee students actually vape at twice the normal rate among students nationwide. Now, most of you watching this video, including myself, are probably out of high school. You probably have friends that are in high school. And you could probably list a whole plethora of names off of people you knew in school who vaped. Today, I will prove how dangerous vaping is, how unhealthy it is for a fifth of Tennessee students to be in contact with vaping and regularly consuming nicotine through vaping or e-cigarettes. I will also make an argument for why teachers and other public school staff should be mandated to report student vape use in a school zone. Firstly, how dangerous is vaping? Vaping typically leads to nicotine addictions. Vaping at a young age, just like any other habit, will typically carry over as a habit from youth or from your young age to adulthood. Now, there's lots of good habits. Eating well, working out, those are good habits that you want to carry over from childhood to adulthood. However, if a habit includes drugs, it becomes an addiction. Vaping also causes respiratory issues. CNN has reported that vapes can cause immediate damage to blood vessels, often leading to blood clots and strokes. Britannica reports that vaping leads to popcorn lung, lipoid pneumonia, and lung collapse. Britannica also reports that vapors have a 71% higher chance of stroke, a 40% higher chance of heart disease, a 40% higher chance of heart attack compared to non-vapors. Clearly, vaping is incredibly dangerous, and it only makes sense that we crack down on it within the schools. If alcohol and regular cigarettes are already illegal and clearly bad to have in the school zones, we should make it mandatory to report vapes as well. Next, it actually is already illegal for people to vape in a school zone. Tennessee Code 39-17-1604, updated in 2024, says, quote, "Smoking or the use of vapor products is not permitted, and no person shall smoke or use vapor products in the following places, including school grounds, any public seating area, bleachers and sporting events, or public restrooms." My argument today is Tennessee should require staff and teachers to report vape instances in school. The Tennessee Department of Health has several recommendations for how to use resources to help students. A quote from the Department of Health: "Adolescents can quickly become addicted to nicotine, even if they are not daily tobacco users. Students who violate the tobacco-free school policy should always be provided with resources to help them quit tobacco products." The Tennessee Department of Health recommends progressive discipline. This means first offense, a way lesser, or even a non-punishment. Slap on the wrist, a warning. As you progress and continue to offend more and more times and people notice it, it's reported, the punishments get worse and worse, maybe even leading up to law enforcement getting involved, since it is illegal. Now, that being said, law enforcement use is a last resort. Oftentimes, people recommend law enforcement using vape detectors. However, the Department of Health of Tennessee has found that vape detectors are not part of the solution. Quote, the CDC and the Tennessee Department of Health do not recommend the use of vape detectors. These have not been proven to decrease the number of students vaping in the schools. So essentially, they're useless. They're an extra step that don't actually do anything. And again, you don't really want a police officer or law enforcement posted up outside of a school where students are entering and exiting to check every single student to see if they have a vape on them. The idea is to find a middle ground, not be too lenient like the schools are now, where people can essentially just vape as they please, and not be too strict with the law enforcement always there, ever present. So, in summary, I've talked about the law regarding vaping, how dangerous it is, and how we can reduce the number of young people in Tennessee who do it and get affected by it. This includes resources, repeat offenders, maybe go to some kind of mentoring after hours, some kind of after hours class, or especially we introduce these kind of resources before we actually catch students. Now, I ask that each of you recognize these problems with vaping as I have detailed them and take some sort of step to better your community, whether that means bringing up these problems to school boards or even emailing the school committee, maybe emailing your representative trying to bring this into law. Fortunately, I'm going to wrap this back around to the story. Addie Hunter actually survived. She spent over a month in the hospital in a vegetative state. Now she's made it her life goal to spread the dangers of vaping and spread awareness of them. So, as Americans, it is our responsibility to ensure the health, safety, and security of our youth. Stopping vaping in schools before it becomes an addiction definitely falls under that umbrella of responsibility. Remember, the answer is not to criminalize the Tennessee youth who have fallen victim to the vaping or the nicotine addictions. But the goal is to not let them keep doing it either. Question is, should we allow youth to permanently damage their bodies and lower their lifespan for the sake of free will? Or should we ensure a healthy and safe youth through educational programs and revoking the ability to destroy their lungs at such an early age? Thank you.